Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thursday Thoughts. Today, I will be sharing some thoughts on baking artisan bread. Okay, earlier this year, we published a paper that shows the top bread trends. From there, I picked up trends that are keto, vegan, clean label, organic, gluten free, and sustainable agriculture to discuss a little bit about it today. All right. The keto trend is high protein, low carb. It is really strong in the market right now. According to Mintel's global new product database, the term keto in the product description saw a 2.3% growth in the past year, while IRI reported sales of keto last year at 68.5 million. Now, most consumers are relating keto to zero net carbs. It's given bakers room to develop high fiber and low carb products with fiber and flour. It is one hot trend. And to keep up with this trend, we will share tips in this particular seminar that is going to be available for you to download next week. All right. So come on to bakerpedia.com/academy to really uh, understand this particular trend for keto baking. All right. Now, the other trends that artisan bread can fit into is really very simple. They are the vegan, the clean label trend, the organic trend, the gluten free trend, and the sustainable agriculture trend. And I went into discussion of all these different trends in my webinar that's available for download next week. Okay, let's see if we can forward this. In today's thoughts, I would like to go over general artisan bread baking at the production level. Okay. So if you are an R&D manager or you're the owner of a company, CEO or VP marketing, you're like, how do I change my bread lines, my pan bread lines into artisan bread lines? Well, just to give you a glimpse of what it really looks like at the retail level, here are some ideas for you to consider. Okay. Do you need to follow all these steps? Not necessarily. You don't. But it would be beneficial to your product if you understand what these steps really mean. Most artisanal bread production starts at the pre-ferment stage with yeast pre-ferments like levains, Polish, bigas, and down to sourdough. Sourdough has no yeast. Okay, sourdough pre-ferments are just lactic lactic acid bacteria, LAB, and just basically wild yeast in the flour that is uh, um, naturally allowed to ferment and produce the gas. Okay, so we start with yeast pre-ferments and sourdough, and we just give it a period of 8 to 30 hours of pre-ferment. Okay, that's at the retail level. A lot of people, a lot of bakers at that level give it up to 30 hours because they just can't fit in it into their schedule. All right, so it's there when they get to it, right? So at the commercial level, you can actually reduce that down and keep it consistent at 8 to probably about 15 hours. All right. Now, this is also the step where if you have whole grain or bran, you pre-soak it. And if you are going to sprout your grains, this is a great place to do it as well. It's during the pre-mixing step. Okay, so you take everything and your final flour and your miners and you mix it up. All right. Usual mixing times with sourdough and sponge and dough brews are much lower. Okay, so don't compare that to straight dough mixing, because straight dough mixing can sometimes be twice the amount of time required. After the dough mixing, the entire bread dough goes into bulk fermentation. In many retail bakeries, this bulk fermentation is overnight. Okay, it's probably about 12 to 20 hours in the refrigerator. Okay, that provides that amazing aroma, that big hole in the dough. Okay, now during bulk fermentation, you will see retail bakers go in and punch the dough and fold it, left, right, turn around. So that actually helps hydrate and align the proteins. And that's why it's stronger after it's folded. Okay, so do you really need to step in the commercial side of things? Well, yes and no. It really depends on the equipment that you have and the time that you have and what kind of dough conditioners you use. Okay, so this step can be questionable or can be skipped if you have the right equipment and dough conditioners. So after folding, you go into another round of bulk fermentation, and this is really to give it the final rise. Okay, um, final rise that will give you the nice large holes, and with the nice large holes, you put it into a low stress divider. If you are seriously thinking about artisan bread production, you have to buy a low stress divider. Okay, divider and shaping. I've seen this step being a failure in some of the bakeries who are scaling up because they didn't purchase the right equipment. They went back to hand shaping and hand dividing because the equipment they bought pretty much made all the cells smaller and made it more uniform. Okay, so this step is important because you don't want to undo what you put so much work in all the fermentation steps. Okay, buy yourself a low stress divider, please, and don't make your workers hand form and hand cut anymore, because it really um, causes a lot of carpal tunnel issues in this step. Okay, after dividing and shaping, you go into final proofing. And this step is important that you keep it low and slow because you have a delicate dough. Low and slow and delicate dough. Remember that. If you rush through this step, you are going to lose a lot of guests. All right. So your transfer points need to be smooth. Your temperature need to be lower at the 90s, lower 90s. Okay. And your fermentation time for your final proof, try to get it at 45 minutes and above. All right, for hearth breads. Okay, next you're gonna go into scoring and dusting, where you are going to give your breads that nice look. Okay, this is so distinctive of artisan bread, and it's important that you get the right kind of splitter. I have I have seen splitters in the market that are water scores, and they work relatively efficiently, but can be limited in the size and style of splits. I have also seen splitters that are a little bit lower in output, but that can provide customized and very nice splits as well. So this is part of the step that you need to invest in equipment as well. And definitely something that you don't want to skip, because you don't want to have your workers, splitting knife slitting the top of your bread, not at that output. Okay, someone's gonna have carpal tunnel within a shift, or you're just gonna lose slicer blades in the bread, and that is very common. So don't do that, please. Anyway, so after splitting, you are going to go into baking, and of course we're going to have special steam chambers to give it that nice gloss and thick crust. Okay, after baking, which usually takes a little longer for artisan bread because you need to drive out all that moisture, right? You cool it and you slice it. Yes, we are in the United States of America where sliced bread sells more than whole breads. Think about slicing your artisan bread. Think hard about that. Nobody wants to buy whole artisan breads here in the US. Okay? Slice it, package it, sell it, and repeat the whole process. Okay. So I want to share a little bit more about tips for processing your artisan breads. Okay. The first tip, pre-ferment sourdough starter. It's important. This is going to be your signature flavor, your signature taste. It comes from this step. Don't skip it. Okay. Sourdough and pre-ferments require more time than compressed or dry yeast to generate equivalent dough expansion through carbon dioxide gas production. So the longer the ferment, the better it is. And when you purchase that dough divider, low stress dough divider, you get to preserve the openness of the gas bubble structure that you took so long to get. Okay, this portion of your flow chart of your processing flow could possibly be your bottleneck in your lean manufacturing process. Okay, because the faster you go, the more pressure you put on the dough, the more bubbles you drive out. The slower you go, the more gentle it'll be on your dough and the more bubbles stay in. Okay? So don't hurry through this process, please, or you're going to lose all that nice openness in the dough and therefore bread. Okay. Scoring and splitting of dough, I talked about that. It's important. Oven steaming. So let's talk about oven steaming. Okay, what is this? A lot of people try to skip this in the commercial process, and you can't. It's thanks to the magic of the dew point of water that promotes condensation on the bread surface. This creates unique crust thickness, gloss, and texture. It's really important. So how long do you steam for? I say at the retail level, not more than 20 seconds. At the commercial level, not more than 30 seconds. Okay, because at the commercial level, your chambers are going to be so big, right? So you might take a little bit longer to get to that dew point, to get to that gloss. All right. So remember, the more humidity you put it into the first chamber, the more you have to extract throughout the entire baking process. So please don't dump too much moisture in there. Don't be making your first zone in the tunnel oven raining. Shouldn't be raining in there. Okay, if it's raining in there, you have a big problems on your hands. So really watch the moisture in there, just adequate enough to give it a nice clean gloss. Okay. Okay. Artisan breads just needs longer baking times. Okay, because you have ciabatta breads that's close to 90% hydration. Okay, and you really need to get that moisture from 50% down to 38%. There's no shortcuts to that. So you really need to focus on longer baking times. And therefore, if you move to get an artisan bread line in, you might get you might need to get an area larger for a bigger oven because the baking is going to take longer. Okay? Can't stress that enough. All right, so I would like to thank Venexia for sponsoring our seminar this morning. What an awesome seminar! What an awesome idea to use chia seeds in artisan bread production. The reason is because chia is such a great source of fiber. Okay. Benexia was born from a growers initiative in early 2000s. Okay. It's a woman-owned company, by the way. It has 25 years of experience and is vertically integrated, and the growers are shareholders. The entire supply chain is focused on sustainability, and this includes the regenerative agriculture, which involves no-till farming, natural soil nutrition, crop rotation, natural barriers, industrial eco-friendly technological innovations, and they take so much care into preserving the environment for wildlife. So Benexia and I have deep discussions on what does sustainable agriculture mean, and they blew my mind. Okay, this company is amazing and they really care about environment. That's why I love working with them. So Benexia guarantees quality, traceability, and availability of chia powder throughout the year. Okay, it's um, it's a product from Chile, and they pretty much process about 2,000 tons per year. If you need certifications for sustainability or sustainable agriculture, they have it. And other certifications, just ask them about it. Reach out to my friend Remy at Benexia. I'm going to include his email below. And I wanted to give another shout out to Benexia. Thank you for sponsoring our seminar this morning. Really awesome. That's all for today for my Thursday thoughts, folks. I will see you next time. Thank you.